Appreciate you being here. Good afternoon, everybody. So, getting back to work today after, I know we caught up a little bit on Saturday, but after a disappointing afternoon. And again, really good to get back to work today to prepare for a really good Syracuse team coming into town this weekend, giving us an opportunity to get back to playing Hurricane football. So, that being said, questions, please.
Mario, Syracuse, some mild shakeups to their coaching staff today. When a team does that mid-season, just moving around some position coaches and things like that, teams don't change who they are, but does it add a wrinkle for preparation?
I think it does. I think that every week we've seen wrinkles with the opponents that we play. So, we do a lot of good on good with our team because that way our guys just get to see things that are outside of what the opponents have shown on film and make the calls and adjustments necessary to try to, again, play every play to the best of our ability. So I'm sure there'll be something. What it's going to be, we certainly will.
And to go back to Saturday, if you don't mind, I know it's delicate because it never comes down to one play, but have you asked the conference for clarity on roughing the passer, the holding call, the last play? I mean, there was a lot of things I think that you could be upset with. Have you asked the conference for clarity on that, and if so, have you heard anything back?
We have not heard back yet. There was a combination of holding, pass interference picked up and whatnot. So we're looking for answers on that, and certainly eagerly awaiting what the response is, as well as the roughing the passer one, which certainly don't agree with. But at this point in time, the best we can do is turn it in and hope for a better result next time. But have not received an answer yet.
What's your view on the overturned fumble? What you saw on film?
I mean, it's we saw what we saw. We thought it was we saw what we saw. We felt that if it has to be inconclusive. I don't know if that was there to overturn a call, but it was. Certainly, we didn't have things go our way, and when you go on the road, the best thing you can do is not leave it in the hands of the officials, right? So, but yeah, that one was certainly something that makes things different.
Mario, you talked in the past about how later you get to the season, teams get more and more film on other teams. Have you, I guess, you and the rest of the staff have talked about maybe new wrinkles to add, things you can change up to maybe avoid teams being able to dial in on some of the tendencies you guys have had?
We always do. Every single week, that's always at the forefront. Sunday starts with an evaluation of the game, a grading of the game, and then a self-scout session to make sure that anything we've done formationally, anything that we've done from a schematic standpoint has some type of eye wash, a wrinkle, a compliment, so that teams can't get a beat on what we're doing. And I think there was progress offensively in some of that stuff. We certainly pushed the ball down the field better. We rushed the ball better against a team that had been really good against the run this season. So that's always at the forefront of what we do, and I think that some of it had some progress on Saturday.
Mario, injuries of Mark, CJ, OJ, and I, how are they all doing?
Yeah, Mark was injured. Okay, we will. It doesn't look like he will be available, but I don't know that yet. Okay, OJ. You had mentioned OJ. OJ will be out for a couple of weeks. Who was the other one you mentioned?
CJ Daniel, then Ahmad Moten.
CJ will be out for a couple of weeks. Ahmad Moten is more, I would put him, I don't know what the categories exactly, I forget, but I would put as one of those 50-50s. Okay, but that's where we are from an injury standpoint as of today. We really felt that those other guys had a chance, and certainly, we hedge on the side of optimism when we get word from the doctors, and when a doctor rules a guy in or out, that's when we go ahead and provide the information. That's where we're at with information.
You've talked about in the past about the importance of not having performance anxiety and the need to play fast. Lately, on the offensive side in particular, do you see any signs of that?
I see pre-snap stuff. We had good play early in the season, and then we regressed a little bit. And then in the second half of the Stanford game, we felt like we started getting back on track. And then we regressed with pre-snap issues this game. Now, between snap to whistle, there was a lot of good play. We drove the ball down the field at a good clip. We had more big plays of over 15 yards or so. We we piled up a good amount of first downs. We didn't do well in the red zone, and we didn't do well in short yardage. Two areas where we had been, tops in the conference at. And I think that's where our issues were this game. The drives that we didn't finish were execution related. I think we had 5 drops. We overcame the illegal procedures in terms of sustaining a drive. We didn't overcome the drops, okay? And that's, when I say drops, that's not a player. That's coaching, that's teaching, that's practice. We take that on all of us. So that is a summation of assessing exactly where our drives continued and where they stopped. Time of possession was good. Number of first downs were good. Third down was almost at 50%. We didn't finish drives. And that's certainly where the margin, we didn't get it to go in our favor.
It's the, I guess it's the best way to ask, the mood. I'm sure guys are down and disappointed, obviously, but, there's a game in 5 days too, and there are still some opportunities, probably even most opportunities that we still have in front of this team. What is the mindset right now? How do you balance both the need to clean up a lot and improve versus not losing sight of the fact that there's still a great deal to play for?
Yeah, very professional approach today. I mean, we have, at the end of the day, we have good people. We have hardworking people, people that have a high care factor. And also people that recognize opportunity and know that the college football landscape and this thing down the stretch is as unpredictable as it gets. And that we will be one of a dozen or so teams that will have an opportunity, if you take care of business, to continue to push into the postseason. Now, all that is great, but I think we all understand that we have to take care of number one, and that's us. We were frustrated, but we're not helpless, if that makes sense. Because all of our answers are in the room. The self-inflicted stuff we can control, and there's a strong commitment to doing so. And you didn't have to wait for players to step up and take charge and demand more of ourselves. And when I say that, I make sure that as a staff, that everything is joined at the hip, that everyone is pouring in to do more and do better by each other and for each other. They know that their best support group is right here in this building. Their biggest fans, their best family, the people that really want to see them succeed are right here in this building. And so they have a strong bond. I have zero doubts that this team wants to get to work and to play really, really good football because we've done it before. We stubbed ourselves right at the toe, and we're ready to go ahead. We're ready to forge forward and get to Saturday.
When you watched the tape of the overtime performance on defense, was that effort up to the standard you want?
They had a couple of plays that hit well. If you don't get a stop, it's never up to the standard. But certainly, we know we need to do better.
Josiah Trader had 4 for 84 in the first quarter. He was the high end.
One more time.
Josiah Trader was 4 for 84 in the first quarter. He was the high end, having a day. Then he dropped the ball. Did that attribute to him only receiving one more target for the rest of the game? And if not, what was the reason he only had one more target for the rest of the game?
JoJo Trader?
Yes.
Okay, so JoJo came out, played a really good second drive, right? Had a big touchdown catch. Had another big catch, right? Had the one that got away, and there being a turnover and a touchdown for the other team. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about. And then some stuff to correct in terms of why he only had one more target. The coverage dictates where the ball is going to go. I believe he played 58, 59 plays. If I'm not mistaken, you would have the rep count. You can get that to our people here. So he wasn't limited in any other way except that if the defense took something away, then the ball would not fly.
Justin Scott and Dante Simpson getting some extra playing time with Ahmad out. How do you feel about those two younger guys getting progress?
Progress, I think a lot like JoJo. You saw some things that you get you really excited, and then you also see the opportunities of areas of improvement. Young players, talented players. That position requires a ton of just being callous, right? Being tough, being gritty. And those are the areas that I think those two guys will continue to improve in. But I think overall, them getting in there and giving us quality snaps certainly it eased some of the brunt of not having Ahmad in there. Ahmad has been playing at a high level, and the combination of him and David Blay have been a big reason why we have been so good against the run. So we're going to continue working with those guys, as well as Dalen Russell, who has shown a lot of improvement, and get the very most out of those guys, and expect a great future from both of them.
Sorry, with the pre-snap penalties, I guess how do you go about? Cause it's been a problem kind of throughout the year, and I know you mentioned teams simulating cadences or stemming and stuff like that to get you guys to jump. 2/3 of the way through the season, I guess what do you do to fix that? Is it just simulating it more in practice? Like how do you go about fixing that?
Well, I think you know me well enough. We dive in hard, man. Everything that doesn't go well, because it's the only way to approach football in life, right? You have to adapt. You have to get better, and it hasn't been good enough. And you know what? Early on, it was good, and when something goes well, you try to make it better and roll with it. And we've reached a point in time where it's like we have tried, we have made the tweaks and adjustments, but it's not good enough. It's not, and it's hurt us, and we know that. So certainly there's some more adjustments coming to it, and there's confidence and faith that it's going to be better. And hopefully, I can say with confidence, you'll see a better result in that area, because it's unacceptable. It's not good enough.
It's a question probably better directed to Shannon, but Malachi's doing things that 18-year-olds aren't doing in this country. He's just, he's going to rewrite the freshman record book here the way he's going and all that. Is there almost a temptation to feed him more?
Well, I think what you saw on Saturday was that attempt, but you also saw what teams will start doing. Bracket coverage, right? Trail coverage, right? Making sure that everything is kept in front. And therefore you see guys like Keelan Marion, come up with the type of day that he had. He had a really, really good day. You see JoJo Trader get himself a couple of big catches. You see the ball being sprayed around a little bit more, but Malachi attracted a lot of attention on Saturday. So I think, when we go into a game, we always think players over plays. I think we have to also acknowledge that defenses are going to stop certain players over certain plays. So if you watch us offensively, there's left and right receivers, but there's also receivers lining up in the slot. There's guys lining up in the backfield. We move guys around in order to just try to create eyewash, a different look, a different presentation, create a different matchup, And so we have been doing that with the guys that have been really, really productive. Malachi is one of them, but he is attracting a lot of attention, and we expect that to keep happening. So it's a great opportunity for the run game to get better, for the other guys at receiver to keep just having some productive days, so that coverage has to be a little bit more evened out, and give ourselves more opportunity to just push the ball up the field.
I can't believe it. It's November. 2/3 of the regular season's gone already. Where's the point where practices change? Where, I know you still like doing a lot of the hard stuff, but where's the point where you decel a little
Sure.
practice?
Well, they change throughout the year. We like to think of it as, in terms of, I would say 3-week cohorts, right? Camp is camp, and you roll from camp into the beginning of the season, and it stays very similar, except there's more opponent work involved. And then after game 3, then you start really tweaking Monday to take some off of the legs, and so you have a more fresh team on Saturday. After week 6, you really start tweaking maybe some of the periods. It could be the group period and some of the block destruction stuff we do. It could be some of the good on good stuff we do, right? And then again, after week 9, there's another time where maybe you take a period and make it a walkthrough instead of a full throttle period. So you look at everything involving player load, workload, repetition, the health of the team, and you make sure that you do everything possible to make your team physically stronger, because it will be reflected in the GPS. How hard you could run, how fast you could run, how much of true acceleration, decels you have, and those numbers have come out. They've come back showing a very favorable result. So we're always trying to do that. We're always searching from different teams, both pro and college. What are the tweaks that you make to your roster? What are the tweaks you make to practice schedule as the year goes on? Because nowadays, especially with the roster being locked on what it is, you have to bring in a pro aspect model, because they can bring in a new guy, right? They could access people, bring them in, we can't. You know, they might have 65, but they cycle through about 125 guys a year, right? And 125 healthy bodies. We have 125 to start. At the end, you don't have anywhere near that. So that's the challenge right now.
You mentioned the availability of Mark maybe being up in the air. What is the opportunity for Marty and Jordan this week, and what would you like to see from them?
Would like to see us continue to improve in the run game. I think those guys are really good players. We've seen them play good football. I think it's an opportunity for Gerard Pringle, Chris Wheatley-Humphrey. I think it's an opportunity for all those guys. But certainly, you know, Mark is a special player for us. He has set the tone a bunch, but we've seen really good play from both Marty and from Jordan, and we expect those guys to play really good football. They're ready.
Hey Mario, as an extension of the calendar moving forward, you got the transfer portal window coming earlier this year, which involves personnel decisions on this team. The guys that have not been playing, do you have scrimmages in practice to try to see them in live action that will help you make determinations on the personnel decisions you have to make?
We won't scrimmage during the year. We're not gonna, just at the risk of losing bodies and injuries, we won't scrimmage. Do we see them on a daily basis in competitive situations? We do, in the form of one-on-ones, 7-on-7, good on good, and then we also have our service periods where a lot of the 2s and 3s will simulate the opponent for the 1s with the entire coaching staff on one field. What does that do? That gives everybody a better look on the opponent, but it also gives our 2s and our 3s an opportunity to run a lot of plays that we run against our very, very best players. So it is an evaluation system. You have to get it right this time because there's only one portal window. So if you get it right, it could be a home run. If you don't get it right, you could find yourself scrambling, right? Once that portal window closes and the players have been signed. So we feel really good about the way we've recruited and the way that we're structured and layered going into the future, and that's always taken into account. And obviously those conversations are always ongoing, and some of the more, you know, serious ones will be coming up in the next couple of weeks or so.
Kind of an oddball, off-topic question for you, but basketball starts tonight, obviously. Tricia has 2 kids back. Jay has zero returning players from last year. Can you imagine starting 18 literally from a blank sheet of paper? Could you imagine what that's like to go through that?
Yeah, I think you have to now. I think the reality is that, and who knows what this is going to bring, right? You know, until there's a cap in their structure and professionalism or a professionalized system. I think you have to be prepared to coach a 1-year team every single year. And so I don't think it involves changing principles and values or whatnot. It just, you know, the adaptability of really figuring out what you have, what the capabilities are, what the internals are of each and every person who's on your roster and on your staff. You have to expedite that process because you're counting on each other, right, to make a push and go win, right, at a high level. So I think all that, it's microwaved is what it is. And you have to be really just, I would say, hyperly astute. I mean, you have to really take in a lot of information, be very aware, have your blind spots covered, and always just do your best by people. That always pays back, right, dividends in a big time way.
In a similar vein, just compared to when you were coaching 10, 15 years ago with the transfer portal and everything, you said kind of coaching almost like a 1-year team every year. Has that changed, I guess, the relationship and the conversations you're having with players throughout the course of the season?
You know, one thing that I'm surprised at is that the ability to find transfers that you hit it off with. I think it was frightening at first for all coaches, thinking, okay, transfer portal, man, who wants to sign guys that are transferring? And then you quickly find out that, you know, sometimes, you know, change just provides a whole different mindset, mentality, opportunity for someone, and they're really grateful for it. You know, we're very, very high on the guys that have come in from the transfer portal. I mean, these guys they're really good players, they're really good human beings, they're hard workers, they're competitors, and one of the most important attributes that no one talks about, they're grateful. They're grateful, you know, and that's like the words please and thank you are very important to them. You know, the extent to which a sports science worker and a weight room, you know, coach goes to make sure that their bodies are feeling right, that they're getting extra work on mobility, stretching, nutrition, vitamins, supplementation, whatever it may be. Those are things that maybe they didn't experience in another place. Personal relationships, which we take a deep dive into that. Because make no mistake about it, we're very regimented. We are. Structure and discipline. People sometimes mistake the word discipline as harsh punishment, and it is not. Discipline is a way to get everyone to get the best out of themselves by not compromising the principles and values of being a really high impact person. But along with that comes the high level relationships as well. And I think that's what we've seen in this wave of transfers. And I think I went around your question without answering it. I don't know if I did, you know, but it is critical that every ounce of time you could spend with your guys to get to know really why they're here and that they align with the principles of the program is really important.
Mario, just in general, just why do you think this team isn't playing its best football this time of year with everything that's on the line?
Mhm.
What needs to change this final month to do so?
Yeah, you know, the details have been the big difference. We have lost in the margins of the game, right? The short yardage opportunities that we came up short in. That's everything. That's coaching and playing. Some of the penalties that I've heard are drives, not let us finish our drives. That's coaching and playing. Communication lapse, you know, and these are opportunities that when you're playing conference football, you don't get them back. You don't. Is it a lack of effort? Absolutely not. I think it's very evident this team's always going to fight all the way up to the very end, no matter what. But the margins we were winning in early in the season, in a couple of games this year, we have slipped up on those. Devil's in the details, and we're going to work hard and find a way to get those details back, and play Hurricane football, and get it done.
Anything else, Coach? Great, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you.